What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the world-famous Comedy Store here in Hollywood, California for another episode of Comedy Store Wrestling. My name is Eddie Torres, and for the first time ever, John's here. Check this out.
I'm here. Upgrade.
Earl's off on assignment again.
He slept late.
Yeah, he slept late.
Earl's always off. He's never on.
Yeah.
Well, as you may have heard, we do have a very special guest here in-house. It's our very first WWE superstar, active superstar. Dolph Ziggler.
Wow.
How
First
are you?
active.
Yeah, we've had some people that are no longer on the in the company circuit.
Okay, all
you
right.
know? But yeah, welcome to the
Thank
Comedy
you for
Store.
having me. I feel like this entire week I haven't left the Comedy Store, which is a dream come true. So
Right.
happy to be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight's going to be your third appearance.
Yeah. Third appearance in 2
You're
nights.
officially here more than Richie.
I'm going to write my name over Earl's.
Oh,
he doesn't
man.
need it.
You should.
Yeah, we just got out of the NXT Try Outs, right?
Yes.
How was that for you?
That was really interesting because learning promos and doing stuff in a room or with a coach or something, that's one thing. But standing on a stage in front of a bunch of your peers is nerve-wracking also. And then you got a bunch of superstars critiquing you basically with the red light. You're like, oh, you got to work on this and work on this. You know what I mean? So it's so nerve-wracking, but it's fun when you see a handful of people go like, whoa, that's something special that we can turn into a superstar in 3 years or something. So we did see several different times where we went, or I was next MVP and we just went, this guy, and you just know, or when you see a 7-foot woman walk on stage and we go, there's money there. You can pay, you want to pay to see something before they even talk. Like, that's wild.
Yeah. Did you ever have to go through a process like that? Because, I mean, NXT is, I don't know. Did you go through, you didn't go through the circuit?
I didn't.
Yeah.
And NXT didn't exist because I'm that old. But
And still the best in the ring. Can we point that out?
I pointed out a lot, but I'm glad you guys did.
It's kind of wild to just think about, like, every time you're in the ring, you're the best performer in that ring, and you consider yourself old, and it's like, yeah, you can still go.
I've had a lot of work done, so it's fine.
It's fine.
I'll be okay for a while. No, somehow I've been very lucky, injury-wise. 19 years, I've missed like 3 weeks of work, and
crazy.
2 of those weeks were just being extra cautious, you know. So I like that they have NXT now. I didn't put it. Whatever, that's fine. Not gonna be some old guy going, oh, they get training facilities. I went to a training school too. It was Ohio Valley Wrestling. It was much less of an interchangeable, like you can go to the roster one day, or maybe William Regal will be there. It was just like, yeah, you're training, and when we want somebody, we'll come find them, and they come visit once in a while. Like John Laurinaitis, Vince McMahon, Michael Hayes come down and just see you two get in the ring and do a match, and you're like, oh man, like on the fly, this is scary, and it just makes you better. And I was very lucky to train there, but I had Jim Cornette and Rip Rogers for learning the basics and learning how to talk, and I was very, very fortunate.
Trainers aside, do you think it was easier how you had to go through it, or in a more public environment than what they're that? One of my things is I always, even Raquel Gonzalez, they changed her name, and I'm like, you're building this character in one area which was never seen before. John Cena could come in, Dolph Ziggler could come in.
Right.
Nobody has any like, oh, that was so-and-so from this, unless you were coming from another company. Do you think it's easier to now be doing the NXT publicly, like in front of the world before?
There's positives and negatives, everything, but also having their own brand, being on television, and having people not just saying, I want to get to WWE, like, I want to get to NXT. Yeah. Like that's a huge selling point, and the reason it is a huge selling point is because it's such a friggin' top-notch facility. You have some of the greatest minds just walking the hallways that you can. Hey, Shawn Michaels, how do you sell? And you're like, that can happen on Monday afternoon. Like that's crazy. And it's so having that and being so public and everyone's so hands-on. Also, you don't have to do vignettes for someone, because the vignette is the year at NXT kicking everyone's ass, and they come out for a dark match or a superstars match, and everyone's like, I know him, and you're like, okay, that's working. That's huge, because you still probably do the vignettes, but you don't have to, which is wild. You're building an audience to know who the future stars will be.
Yeah, and you're throwing them right into the ocean and learn to swim, because you're putting them on TV. Like before, you had to go OVW, do all your training, all that, and then eventually get to TV. But if you're already in there, you're getting that experience. And a lot of people not to, I watch NXT, but a lot of people don't. They stick to the main roster. So you're still getting new faces when they get to the main roster.
Yeah, it really is a difference having that and just whether you watch it. Like I famously don't watch wrestling. Whatever, that's fine. It doesn't. I'm over it. Whatever. But I do watch some things, like my brother do some things, or I liked working with Braun Breaker. That was so fun. What's he? Oh, he's in a triple threat match with his title. All right, I'll check it out. Like so. Things like that get me to watch it, and if you're getting eyeballs on it, everybody's winning, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed when you went back. You went back there for a little bit of a run to help out the talent, Yeah,
I thought I was back there for 3 weeks to help out, and it was a
little longer,
6 weeks or 7 weeks, and become champion. Yeah, it was. That was I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, but I mean, so as a person that's already done pretty much everything else in the business, like, was that exciting for you to try something new?
100%.
It wasn't seen as a step down or anything.
No, I wasn't doing much. Like Rude, and I'm very lucky. I got basically TNA's Dolph Ziggler, except he was probably 10-time world champion instead of 2 or whatever the hell it was. The two of us, like, I don't know who wouldn't want to be in the ring with us, no matter what level you're at. And when you get to the main roster, and say you're on Raw, and it's like the tag team goes out, and then we're waiting for our music to hit, and they go, sorry, you lost 4 minutes on your 6-minute match. And the guys are already in the ring, and your music's hitting. We're the right 2 guys to have to go out there, and it's almost exciting because it's live TV, how things change, you got to call on the fly. That's what gets me excited, because I'm not over it. Like, it's kind of easy. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, it's not that I don't put the time in, and I don't figure out a blueprint of a match, and which I'm like, hey, just in case this goes wrong here. If we're short on time, we're going to have all these options, but that just comes from the reps. But the two of us being able to do that with anybody is great. So him and I going to NXT was a blast. And it was like we were wrestling 3-minute tag matches on Raw. And I go, hey, you want to go to NXT? Hell yeah. Well, first I said, what's the pay? And then I said, yeah, I'm in. And then and I was like, it was a couple weeks where this guy, he's a good kid. I was like, instantly loved him. I was like, oh, this is great. I'm happy to be here helping. And then they're like, well, we might switch it up a little bit. And I'm like, oh, you guys are going to beat me up right now? Like, we're supposed to have 4 weeks, and like you're going to beat me up in 2? Screw you guys. I'm out of here. And they're like, no, we're going to go another direction. We're going to catch everybody slipping and put the title on you. I'm like, oh, all right, let's do it. And he goes, then it gets an even bigger stage for NXT WrestleMania weekend, or possibly even the Raw afterwards, with all these eyes on it. And now all these eyes are going to hopefully transfer over to the NXT television show too. So hopefully that worked out. I had an absolute blast. You got a little more leeway with talking and what you want to say and putting together some matches, but it was an absolute blast.
Is there any talent that you saw in NXT, during your time there, or right now, that you're excited to possibly see jump up in the Raw after Mania?
I don't want to keep saying Breaker, but
yeah,
he's who I worked with the most, and I see a ton of potential, and not just potential. He's been doing it for a year straight of that potential. So you go, man, are we going? That's how you should do it. You get a year of being a focal point of the television show. You don't have to be the world champ or whatever, but a year straight of learning, like, oh, we're going to a commercial right now. You got to be able to transfer that when you go to Raw or SmackDown. So having him lead the show, having him do his promos, having him learn those time cues are really important. The time is a huge thing. A lot of people mess up. And hitting him in a TV show where he's the champ, in an environment where he can thrive, I think that's exactly how you prepare someone for that Monday after shows up and throw someone through a wall or something,
Yeah. Do you get amazed at how you get thrown into a match, or they'll just say, hey, this is what you're doing, you're facing Gunther, and then the internet will just blow. Like recently, your last match with Gunther, Twitter went wild. Like they're like, why is this happening to Dolph?
He should be champion again. I was like, oh, I missed it.
No, it's very interesting. Like there are people that no matter what they do, whatever role they get into, Twitter ends up behind them, and that includes you, The Miz. There's just a collection of guys that are considered the workers.
I feel like there was a time, I'm trying to think, man, like 10 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, where Miz, Kofi, Sheamus, and myself were on every live event, every television show, and doing the PR in between. So there was some weeks I didn't go home. Sometimes I was measuring my time off in hours, whatever. But we were like this crew, and they were like, hey, we're going to bring in this new crop of guys so you guys don't have to do every single extra appearance promoting a show. And that happened for a couple of months, and then they went right back to us. And I go, and I feel like that, whether we're in the main title scene or not, like Miz and myself, that equity is built in there. Do they go like, okay, if this match is 30 seconds long, Dolph will make that finish look sick as hell, whatever. If this match is 30 minutes long, it's going to steal the show because this guy's in it. So, sadly, a lot of times on TV, when Gunther's going to a WrestleMania match on a pretty strong push and build, and I'm kind of hanging around and sometimes have 5-minute matches, you can't give everything you want. I would have loved to have done 20 minutes, but it was cold, guy from a different roster. I have no story with him, and we had really short time, and it's unfortunate, but hopefully, I don't know, his chops and finishes look good. I don't know.
No, I mean, my point is you're getting another title run. Like, you're on that path of the fans are going to go nuts. You just need that one thing to happen where, unfortunately for some superstars, someone gets injured, they get that spot.
Yeah.
And you're on that path. The Miz, Sammy, like, there are just people that I think we're doing the job for people that are going to get that title run at one more point, at least in their career.
I hope so. And the thing is, Miz is constantly doing 10 million things plus.
Yeah.
The wrestling's like the bottom of his list probably. But to have that and know that I can do some other stuff on the side and kind of almost not raise my value, but like, hey, I'm still here. And if you wanted that match with Gunther to be 60 minutes, he'd have been tired at the end, not me. I'm ready to go always. And it would have stolen the show, whatever, that's fine. But knowing that they just, it could be, this guy's sick. This guy tore a hamstring. This is it. Okay, Miz, you're in. Okay, great. And it's like he's fighting for the title all of a sudden. And you don't go, what's this? You go, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And there's a handful of guys that you can do that with.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So now that we're in the middle of WrestleMania week. We're on the road. There's so many things going on in town. I mean, are you I know your schedule is probably slammed with stuff and we're taking your time right now, but what else do you have in mind to like see or do while you're
It's LA, so I have an apartment here with my brother, so it's not like once a year I'm in LA and like, oh, I got to go see some things, but it's great cuz I have a bunch of friends here, and most importantly, we get to do a bunch of Comedy Store stuff. Dead serious, it's so cool. AEW was in town, did a forum like 2 months ago, and on like 96 hours notice, put a show together with my brother, and we had some surprise guests, sold it out, had a blast. I said, let's keep doing this, and we immediately tried to set something up for WrestleMania week. So for me, the appearances and doing that promo thing where you're judging the NXT guys, that was really fun for me, but also we have 15 different things we got to do all day long for WWE and promote, but finding a way to have a comedy show every time, or a handful of them for me, is an absolute blast. There's so many things. WrestleMania used to be WrestleMania week, and there was like a Ring of Honor show, and then I go, why don't we start doing a comedy show? And then one year we did back-to-back nights at Caroline's, sold out in New York City. I was blown away. And then now it's like in a positive way, please take this as a positive way, there is 70 comedy shows. There's 200 independent shows. There's spoken word. There's this. I love that. It's not just here's the WWE's access schedule. It's here's the entire world of wrestling schedule, and you're in the city where it all goes down. That's pretty awesome if you're a fan.
I was talking to Christian,
Christian,
who put together the whole tryout thing. And the one thing that I love about wrestling and comedy, it's a meritocracy. WWE could force any wrestler down your throat.
Yeah.
If you're either funny or you're not, you're either a good wrestler or you're not. And the fans get behind the good comics. It doesn't matter how many TikTok followers you have.
Right.
You're either funny or you're not. And that's where I think that crossover is huge when you do these kinds of shows, because it's like, we're going to see some wrestling and we're going to see some funny.
Right.
And we're going to be able to get behind them for one or the other. Either the wrestlers are funny or they're not.
Or they're not.
But we're still going to see a wrestler that we love.
Right.
Like Dolph Ziggler's on the fucking lineup.
On top, whatever. Headlining. Sorry. But I did an open mic in, I can't even remember, maybe 12 years ago or something. And I had no business being on the show, but a friend was a comic, was a wrestling fan. And he was like, hey, you want to be on the show? I was like, yeah. I had no business on. I had no material. I had no anything. I was just a fan. It was just an open mic at the back of a coffee shop. And he goes, well, it's a bunch of open mic people who'll just be staring at their phones, but also Andy Kindler stopping by and doing 25 minutes. And he goes, since you're not supposed to be on the show, you'll follow Andy. And I'm like, of course. So bunch of open micers. Everyone's not even like, if something's funny, no one's paying attention. And then Andy goes up and just riffs and crushes because everyone's paying attention. But I ran through my 6 minutes in 3.5 minutes because I was just speeding through and didn't know what I was doing. I was so scared. But I got my opening line, and I saw Andy, who I thought was leaving instantly off the stage, standing at the back wall, and he laughed at something I had said. And I was like, what? Yeah. Holy cow. So I go to the back, and it's so much like wrestling. We do a 4-day loop, but we in 4 cities. You guys do 5-6 shows in the same city, and then you pop to another one, and it's the same routine, and it's getting comfortable, getting your reps in. It's the same. It's creepy how. And the really funny part was I went to backstage and I'm like still shaking after this open mic at a coffee club, and it's just like a WWE locker room. Andy Kindler, the veteran, is talking to a young guy like, "Hey, we're gonna," and I go, "This is the same as our locker room. Someone helping out someone else," and of course. Everybody was bitching about some up-and-coming comic who was getting all this time that didn't deserve it. And they're all bitch like, I should be getting this push, not this guy. I go, we have the same locker room, like identical. And that was my first time doing a show. I go, we're kindred spirits. It's the same. It's the same. Yeah,
it's crazy to think about.
It's wild,
it's like they'll get behind what is true to the art form. And it's like, it's awesome.
Is there any other like active wrestler in WWE that you can potentially see maybe having a career in comedy like yourself? Because I mean, last time you said you were here with your brother.
Yeah,
we got to see someone that hadn't tried stand up before do it.
Whoa, and he did great, right?
He did great.
And he came back Monday for Potluck. I think we had to get you on Potluck Monday after Raw.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
It's at 5. Raw's at 5, so we're done at 8.
It starts at 7.
Oh,
there you go.
But yeah, that's a great point. A really funny thing was when we were doing the Caroline shows in New York, it was back-to-back nights, and a bunch of people like, I don't know what I'm doing. I go, this is the fun part of it. You don't have the open mic crowd that I had that didn't give a shit and didn't want to see you. You have 250 screaming wrestling fans that can't wait to see. You have like the built-in Seinfeld walks on stage and we're already laughing and applauding. Yeah. He didn't talk yet. You have that like, there's the Miz, yes! And if you're really good, they'll show it. And if you're really bad, they're still going to pretend. Yeah. Like, what a great time to do your first show. You're not going to get genuine feedback. Screw that. This is a fun show for them, and they want the cameos and the people, but you get a chance to try out some stuff. And that was the opportunity that I gave to tons of people. I can't even remember the roster, but we did back-to-back nights with like 11, 12 people going up, like sometimes fast, sometimes a skit, sometimes stand-up. And I think Miz told a story, and it was great to see him not comfortable.
Do you find that difficult for you to develop your act when they know? Like, I imagine when you pop in and it's not a Dolph Ziggler show, you have an audience that's like, either I don't know this guy because I'm not a wrestling fan, or I wasn't expecting him, so I'm going to be excited. But do you find it easier or harder because you are who you are?
It's both. If my friend Sarah Tiana or Kate Quigley's in town and they go, hop on my show, it's in 2 hours, just do 8 minutes or something just to get a rep. I'm like, hell yeah. I go up there with a hat on, I'm just Nick, and they're sitting there like this. We're waiting for Sarah Tiana to make us laugh, asshole. And you go, that's where you genuinely learn. And then there's other times where it's like, I shouldn't have been on that show and I got it because of wrestling, but also then there's a sold out show at Caroline's and you go, it's because of wrestling that we have this show, so I know that I'm not getting genuine feedback. So my favorite part is to do an open mic as Nick. There's a Chinese restaurant by my house, or if Quigley or Tiana go, get up and do a couple minutes, that's when it's not this Jerry Seinfeld treatment, and it's like, oh, for the last 5 years, that joke worked, and I guess they were full of shit because they saw Dolph Ziggler saying it. I go, damn it, cross it out, and then you try and reword it, but that's where I finally get to learn, which is great.
All right, we have to wrap it up soon. I have one last question because you were on Sam Roberts' show yesterday, and we were Baron was talking about retiring Kurt Angle. 2 questions.
I was so jealous about that.
I mean, 2 questions. One, who would be your dream retiree that you're retiring, and who would you want to retire you?
Interesting. I'll think of something else, but that Kurt match, I thought they didn't tell us who was going to do it until a couple weeks out. I was like, man, are they finally going to give me a singles match at WrestleMania and I get to be in the ring with my friggin' hero, Kurt Angle? Like, reason I have a job in wrestling because I came in at 5'11", 180 pounds is because Kurt Angle was doing so well that they gave me a shot. Like, that's it. He was so good that I got to try out. That's it. And so I was like, man, this could be, I finally get a Mania match, finally get a one-on-one. It's my hero. And I go, I don't even care how, like, if I win or lose, whatever. If we retire him, that's cool. Yeah. But, like, I was very jealous of that. So I'm trying to think, man. I come really close with Rick. So Flair would have been friggin' awesome. I'm trying to think. I always kind of cop out on this and go, I want Miz, Morrison, Ryder, and myself to either have everybody running down. It's like Miz and myself, and then they're running in and picking sides or something. Or we all just have this 5-way match, and not like Attitude Era guys, like we all hug afterwards, but we just do it, and like we're out there and like we got it. Like we did this, we built it with a story, and I got to be here with my friends who I've been friends with because of the business, because they always wanted to do more, and I just was drawn to them because Ryder was doing the YouTube stuff that we weren't doing, and it was like, this guy's trying everything. Miz is going above and beyond to do some other show so he can get a push. And I'm like, we were just all drawn to each other doing these extra things, and it's like, these are the people who want to be on top and are doing the extra work. So that would be cool, and I would like my brother to retire me.
Oh, very nice.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That would be a fucking curtain call, imagine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean,
Miz, Morrison. Yeah, that's a solid group there.
Pretty solid, I think.
you just gave me a thought in my brain. I'm like, you know how you retire Brock? You have him in the ring and then have the entire locker room come in and run in and beat him up until he's done. And
that's pretty good. And it makes up for a bunch of pull-aparts where I got punched in the face 10,000 times in the last 15 years, pulling apart him and Roman or him and anybody.
I also imagine Brock being completely on board with that. Yeah, we'll just have the whole locker room come and throw me around.
Everybody
with
hit their
finisher.
finish. Yeah, I'll just lay there. Yeah. Even if he agreed, I don't think he would in the ring. But yeah.
Well, brother, I want to thank you so much for giving us some time. I know your schedule's crazy. It's WrestleMania week. I'm excited for this weekend. Everybody that's watching and listening, you know where to follow Dolph at Heel Ziggler.
Here we go.
By the time this comes out, Hulkamania has already happened, and it's already sold out, so it doesn't matter. You can't even come. Sorry.
Sold out in 2 days, whatever.
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. Selling out the Comedy Store in 2 days. But thanks again, man, and we'd love to have you back anytime.
Absolutely. I love just being here. It's I call everybody Marks for wrestling. I'm a Mark for comedy and have been my whole life, my brother and I, and this place is this is a WrestleMania place a museum that you get to go perform in and visit. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
Please make sure to follow us at Comedy Store Wrestling. You can follow me at RRBG Podcast. You can follow John at Comedy Store Studios.
Thanks,
The funniest line of the night.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I was about to say his personal Instagram.
No.
They'll figure it out.
Nobody needs his personal.
That was so funny.
No, I knew what he was doing. That's it. Everyone knows. That's why I don't go on camera. I'm the social media production guy.
All right, everyone. Enjoy WrestleMania. We'll see you next week.